Gospel of Matthew, chapter 19. Welcome back to Bible Breakdowns Daily. Matthew chapter 19 shows Jesus moving from Galilee toward Judea, and as he travels, crowds follow him with their needs, their questions, and their expectations. In this chapter, Jesus reveals what God intended for marriage, blesses children, challenges the rich, and comforts those who have sacrificed for him. Let's step into the story. Jesus leaves Galilee and travels into the region of Judea on the far side of the Jordan. Large crowds follow him, and once again, he heals them. Wherever Jesus walks, brokenness begins to disappear. Some Pharisees come to test him. They ask, "Is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for any and every reason?" They are not asking because they care about marriage. They want Jesus trapped in a debate. But Jesus answers by going all the way back to creation. "Haven't you read," he says, "that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female and said, 'For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh.' So they are no longer two, but one. Therefore what God has joined together, let no one separate." The Pharisees push back. "Why then did Moses command that a man give his wife a certificate of divorce and send her away?" Jesus replies, "Moses permitted divorce because your hearts were hard, but it was not this way from the beginning." Then he teaches them the seriousness of breaking a covenant, showing that divorce was never God's design. It was a concession for human sinfulness. The disciples, hearing this, are shocked. They even say, "If this is the situation between a husband and wife, it is better not to marry." Jesus responds that not everyone can accept this teaching, but God gives grace to those called to marriage and to those called to celibacy. At that moment, some parents bring their little children to Jesus so he might lay his hands on them and pray for them. But the disciples rebuke the parents, thinking Jesus is too busy for children. Jesus immediately corrects them. He says, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Jesus places his hands on the children, blessing them with gentleness and love before continuing on his way. As Jesus continues, a young man comes to him with a sincere question. "Teacher, what good thing must I do to get eternal life?" Jesus asks why he focuses on good things, reminding him that only God is truly good. Then Jesus tells him that if he wants to enter life, he should keep the commandments. The young man asks, "Which ones?" Jesus lists them. "Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not lie, honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor as yourself." The young man answers, "All these I have kept. What do I still lack?" Jesus looks at him with compassion and says, "If you want to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come, follow me." The words strike directly into the man's heart. He wanted eternal life, but he was deeply attached to his wealth. Matthew tells us that the young man went away sad because he had great riches. Jesus turns to his disciples and says, "Truly I tell you, it's hard for a rich person to enter the kingdom of heaven. Again I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter God's kingdom." The disciples are astonished. They ask, "Who then can be saved?" Jesus answers, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Peter speaks up, as he often does. "We have left everything to follow you. What then will there be for us?" Jesus tells them that in the renewal of all things, when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, the 12 disciples will also sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And he adds that everyone who has left houses, family, or fields for his sake will receive 100 times as much and inherit eternal life. But then he ends with a surprising warning. "But many who are first will be last, and many who are last will be first." His kingdom reverses everything the world values. Lesson and reflection. Matthew 19 teaches that God's kingdom transforms how we view relationships, children, wealth, and sacrifice. Jesus reminds us that marriage is a covenant designed by God from the beginning, not a temporary arrangement. He calls his followers to a higher standard than the culture around them, not because he wants to restrict them, but because he values marriage deeply. Jesus' blessing of the children shows that the kingdom belongs to those who come with humility, openness, and trust. In a world that overlooks children, Jesus highlights them as examples of the heart that enters his kingdom. The rich young ruler's story teaches that even the best moral behavior cannot save us if our hearts are tied to something other than God. Jesus didn't reject the man. The man rejected Jesus' invitation because he valued his wealth more than eternal treasure. Jesus' statement that salvation is impossible for man but possible with God shows that eternal life is always a miracle of grace, not human effort. Finally, Jesus reassures his disciples that every sacrifice made for him will be rewarded abundantly. Nothing surrendered for Christ is ever lost, not time, not relationships, not comfort, not possessions. God sees every sacrifice and promises eternal reward. That's Matthew chapter 19, a chapter about God's vision for marriage, the value of children, the danger of misplaced devotion, and the hope of eternal reward. Next time in Matthew chapter 20, Jesus will tell parables about the last being first, predict his death again, and heal 2 blind men who cry out for mercy. Stay tuned. Chapter 20 is challenging, surprising, and full of deep meaning.